Hello, everyone. Hope you're keeping well. All right, for today's topic, we will go deeper into the questions that I have received this week. I have tried to categorize it the best of my ability. So I will try to answer a few of them in today's episode 6. I call this one. Okay. The last episode was more about positive thinking. Um, but for this episode, I think I want you to ask me anything that is on your mind. Okay. As we go along, you can also type in your question on the live chat, and I will try to address it if appropriate. All right. So the first question that I see here, which yes, a phenomenal relationship question from a young person. Um, is it normal to have fights in a relationship? I assume this is a very broad one, so I'll try to address this my point of view. So if your relationship is like you're starting, it's always everything is fun. All the positive things about that person you will get to know. It's like when you go to a country, you will when you go to a tourist spot, everything looks beautiful and wonderful. And the same thing with relationship. Either it's a personal relationship or a business relationship. Everything is like the first day love. All right, so then everything will be fine. You think that this person fits with me, you found your soulmate or whatever people believed in, but that is not. I would say enjoy it while it lasts. Why is that? Because once you get married, most of the time, or if you live together, doesn't have to be married, but if you live together, then you know the other person's not such a good point. Let's say, for example, that the person always, from a woman perspective, put a makeup on, and the next day you see without a makeup. Okay, and for the guy also, once he looks very gentle, what happens in the morning when he wakes up? Is he grumpy or not? So that's kind of thing I will say it is very normal to have fight in a relationship. It's not really physical fight. If it's a physical abuse or then absolutely no. Then you definitely cannot have this kind of relationship because no one's can touch your body. Okay, in the sense of abuse you. So that's why it's called my body, my choice. There was a saying about it long time ago, and yeah, so that's why it's good to have a relationship that lasts forever in a sense of long term. There's a question about this as well, is how can I make new friends and handle peer pressure? Okay, so this is definitely from a young person. Yeah, if you want to make new friends, is you have to be a friend. You cannot say, oh, why, how comes I cannot find friends, and how comes I lose friends so quickly? You don't find friends and you don't lose any friends, you attract them. What I mean about this is that you become a friend. So let's say that if you want to have a smile from a person, try to smile, and then you can see people smile back to you or not, right? So the same thing with friends as well. So if you want to have friends, be the friends you want to see. And that's why Gandhi said it best, that if you want to have change in the world, be the change you want to see, because it has a ripple effect, right? Okay, I hope I answered this question well. Let's go to another one that is a very big one on technology and social media. Which one shall I answer? There's quite a lot, but okay, this one is a good one. Is it fair to ban phones in school to improve focus? Hmm. In some countries, they already have a restriction on the age that you can basically bring a phone to school, which is good. I know some people say, but how comes, emergency call, and then what shall I do, and how can I handle those stuff? When you're young, in the sense of even teenager, you don't really need it. Why is that? Because when I was young, also, I don't have a cell phone at all, let alone this smartphone. When we go to school, if there's something wrong, you will get to hear it from your headmaster. They will go to your class and tell you, "Hey, someone parents want to speak to this kind of their kid, etc. Something has happened quickly," and then you need a phone because the beautiful thing about without phone, then the focus become bigger because then you are really not distracted. And like I said in my previous episode, you can take a look that young people is better not to use too much phone. The reason why is you need still to train your brain. One, because when you type with your phone, you only use your thumbs, right? So only two. The two will trigger your brain. But if you write down or type, like behind a computer, then you have at least 10 fingers, right? If you type. But if you write it down, then you shake off all, then your brain will work even better. I want to share with you another thing. Most of the people has been trained to write with their right hand. That's why their left brain becomes stronger. But try the other way, write with your left hand, because then your right brain will work more efficient. To test that is especially when the people are above 18, then it's a little bit difficult, but you can still train your right brain by brushing your teeth. So you put a sticker note or anything in the morning and say, remember, use your left hand. So I'm not saying that you don't use your right hand at all, but you use both because it will slow down in the beginning to brush with your left hand. But the good thing is then your right brain, your emotional side of your brain will work. And the reason why it's important, it has benefits on me a lot in the sense of your thinking, your analysis, and especially your emotion. Because the right side of the brain is the emotional side, and the left side is usually is the analytical side, and that's why I highly recommend people to use their left hand so that the right brain will work. All right, oh, this is a good one. Let's go jump into a mental health question. I think this is a phenomenal one. Which one shall I pick for today? Uh, okay. Um, yeah, this is a very big one. Is it normal to feel lonely? Yes and no. Why? I thought there's only one answer. No. Loneliness is not that you have no friends or family to talk with or no one to play with or and then you feel like depressed. No, you're not. All human beings are born alone. I know you will say maybe you're born by your mom, of course, and then the world is yours, right? But when you were in your womb of your mom, you were alone, right? And when you die, you will be alone as well, by the way. Even though you die in God forbid, like anything like a plane crash or anything with a lot of people, doesn't mean that you will die together. You still die alone because the feeling of loneliness happened because all of us are programmed to do something every day. When you wake up to do something, to do something, and then once you're alone, then you feel like, oh my God, there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. That is the beauty. Because the beautiful part is if you practice loneliness on a daily basis, you'll never be alone. How to do that? Many ways. One of the phenomenal ways is meditation. Not medication, but meditation. Like close your eyes and sit with your foot crossed. But the people that cannot sit with the foot crossed, you can just sit on the chair. Why is that? Because if you do that, then the world will open up. I always say your third eye will open up. Then you will never be alone because you feel awe. That is the most important part. Is then when you feel already that you are in the now. The book that I highly recommend always is the Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. He wrote also in that that's the hardest part of human nature is to be alone because once they are alone, they think that something's wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you have to spend some time with yourself, okay, by yourself, so that you also don't need anything around you, anyone around you. I'm not saying that you don't. Of course you do, because that's the reason why we have this kind of thing called humanity. But it does help you to be thinking clearly, and also to make better decision. Because your inner child, like we saw, like we always like to say, is the God within us or the Almighty within us, whatever you believe in, is always trying to ask you to, hey, listen to me. But you're always busy, 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 going busy, right? So spend some time with yourself. What we call loneliness is good. Okay. All right. Let's go to another one. This is more about growth, personal growth. Okay. Okay. Mm, this is a good one. Okay, I need to choose one of the three. Okay, let me read out to you this one. Who am I, and what do I value? Wow. First of all, no one, and I mean it, no one can tell you who you are. You know who you are. Your friends or your mom or your dad can definitely, or even your siblings, can guide you to the direction because they see your behavior until today. But that's not who you are. So the only way to find out who you really are is then to meditate, to find out what your strengths are, your weaknesses, and also what you want to learn. You know, not only depending on your past knowledge, because maybe something has to do with your U-turn. You know, what I mean is that in the videos you can take a look that I wrote about who am I. I spoke about it. It's basically that you're the consciousness, you're this awareness in this world. Okay, and what basically the real you have to find out. But what I meant about consciousness is we all are in this consciousness. Okay, that's why we are here. I like about Dr. Wayne Dyer, who said it a long time ago that just imagine, right? You come from nowhere, Nowhere, nowhere. Now here, N-O, and then a space, W-N-O-W, sorry, H-E-R-E. Now here. And where are you going? Nowhere. Nowhere. Okay. What I meant about that is, I think he meant about that as well, that don't worry too much about that. You have to find out who you are, know thyself. It will always change among, it depends on your situation of life and where you are. Because the inner piece of who yourself is trying to, always trying to be something, right? You're already full. Okay, the only way you have to think of yourself is like Michelangelo, the sculptor. You just uh, s- keep sculpting yourself. Okay, it's like a wood. For those that doesn't understand sculpture, it's basically that you keep cutting your perfect self, and it always will change over time. All right, I think this will be the last question for today. I'm a little bit tired today, but I think it's good to answer this. Wow, this is definitely I need to answer. It's called the what about safety in at school? What should I do if I'm being bullied? Oh, this is a very big one. I'll spend some time, and I hope this will help you. All right. Have you ever went to the market? Then you see, crabs, right? A lot of crabs in one bunch of bucket. And you think to yourself, these crabs can easily crawl out, right? How comes they never really go out? Okay, the reason is because even though the lid is open, they crab each other down. I call them, in this case, not that crabs are losers, but let's assume that they're, the low-minded people, the losers. They want to always pull you down. So that's why they bully you. They want your attention. By the way, and this is a very important one, don't let the bullies bully you in the sense of that you let it go. Why? Because eventually other people will keep bullying you. The only way to fight the bullies is find out who's the biggest bully. This is my secret for you today. Everything I said today, if it's about the bully that's bothering you as a young person, try to find out who's the biggest bully. Okay. Number two, if you recognize one or two that's the biggest bullies, that's fine. It should always be one, by the way, because he's always the biggest bully. He doesn't want to be the biggest one, by the way, but you can tell who it is. And in this world, you can see also that the world so-called world leaders that are bullies, if you don't handle them properly, they will come back and bully you even more. Okay, so don't neglect the bullies. Fight them back. Number two, how to fight them back. If you recognize who they are, you observe, you recognize them, and even though you cannot fight them physically or mentally or whatever, go to the teacher, okay, or someone in. If you are not in the school form, in a corporation, go to the one that makes the final decision. Sometimes even your boss can be a bully. Then go to the boss of the boss. Okay, I highly recommend that better. Why? Because most of the time, the level higher than you, the line manager or the boss, is also a bully because he or she doesn't want you to take over their job. So you go to the boss. Okay. So when it comes to the school setting, most of the time it's the school setting. Go to the teacher. If the teacher doesn't want to help you for whatever reason, maybe she or he is too busy, or maybe he or she is even a bully, right? Go to the headmaster. The headmaster is usually the best one. If that doesn't resolve the issue, of course you have to tell your parents. And why is that? Because your parents can also guide you. If your parents are too busy, go to your uncle or your aunties or your grandma or your grandpa. Okay. But that's number three reason, and number four I will say is that learn kung fu like me. I was in a class for minority when I was born, a country called Suriname. Okay, in my class I'm the only Chinese. Just imagine. And if you don't fight back with the bullies, it's very hard because they will then take away your pencil, take away your eraser, and then you cannot even concentrate at school. Right? So I will say fight back, learn kung fu. Number four, even physical fight sometimes is good because I'm not advocating this. I'm just saying this is the last resort. Fighting is always the last resort, even within the countries. Diplomatic first, try all the method as much as you can. That's the reason why we have war already in this world, because people cannot handle the pressure and they think they have all the strong weapons in their disposal and they already use it instead of diplomatic um, ways. I highly recommend to always do the diplomatic ways first. Fighting is always the last resort. All right, if all things fail, but there's most of time it's better to settle it down because even the bullies are being jealous at you, maybe, right? Because the bullies are envious and jealous, and the only thing they can do now is just bully you to drag you down like a crab, like I said in the kind of example. Anyway, all in all, I think hope today's episode will help you. If there's anything else that bothers you, just let me know in the comments below, or just send us to the questions, and we will answer next week, Friday, 10 o'clock Hong Kong time. Thank you so much. Have a nice weekend. Bye.